All right, go ahead and raise your hands, and I will get you the mic.
John, a bigger picture, how do you evaluate a series like that coming off the 3 losses?
We didn't play well today, I think all around. The other games, you're kind of right in there. And I think the kind of theme was just didn't do much with guys on base, Again, it sucks to get swept, first time all year. They're playing really well right now, and we just didn't do enough to win. That's kind of what it came down to.
When you look at those spots with guys on base, is there anything that connects all of that, something that the hitters did or that Boston's pitchers did?
I mean, they've made a very big effort. They're throwing a lot less heaters. They're throwing a lot less four-seamers, a lot more two-seamers, breaking balls, cutters. So I think they executed pitches, and at the same time, it's up to us to adjust to that, and especially in those spots. No one really else that you want up with the bases loaded, no one out, and JT. They made a good pitch, and that was probably our biggest chance. But yeah, I think in those situations, it just comes down to being convicted to a pitch, to a spot, and putting a good swing on it. And we didn't do it enough for this series.
John, the errors are uncharacteristic
Yeah.
of your ball club. How much did the Red Sox kind of factor into it, their aggressiveness factor into that?
Yeah, I mean, the one, the ball to Addy, you want that one back. The throw from KK was really good. It goes off the runner. Kev's pickoff to first, that was a little bit offline, and uncharacteristic out of Vlad there in the 8th inning. So I mean, again, we take care of the baseball really, really well, and I think that just leads to them. They're aggressive on the bases. It puts more pressure on you, and when you got a team with a little bit of momentum, that doesn't really help.
What did you take away from their aggressiveness along the base paths? What can you learn from this series?
Yeah, that they're going to keep doing it. That's kind of how they're fairly young and very athletic. Top to bottom, they got guys that can make things happen on the bases. I thought overall we did an okay job. And I think that we're going to see these guys again in a few days. So definitely some adjustments that need to be made too.
Just your thoughts on Kevin's start today?
Yeah, I thought Kev had good stuff. I think the biggest thing today was the split wasn't really its normal self. It wasn't really carrying the zone to play off of his fastball. And the first pitch slider to Duran for the homer, that kind of that happens. But I think the split wasn't really as much of a factor as he or we would have hoped it would have been. And defense didn't really help us behind him.
John, some of the momentum you guys had built in the previous series coming into this one, especially over the weekend over Cleveland, and it lost in the battle to get back to 500 and over 500. What are you making sort of how your team is viewing that or feeling that, and sort of the difficulty to overcome that barrier?
Yeah, it seems like we're kind of stuck in neutral right there when you're getting close. I think what we're worried about is just winning, one game at a time and focusing on one game at a time. You're going to see the same two teams again over the next week, and then a couple more good teams after that. That's just kind of how it goes. But I think what we're really focusing on is one game at a time. And you come off a good weekend series against a really good team, and you run into a team that is playing pretty well and that is talented, and they can pitch really well. So I think it's really, you got to reset it after the off day, and you get back after just it's one day at a time.
Going off of what Chai said with the momentum off those 2 wins against Cleveland, now you're going back to their place. You just beat them here. What kind of, seeing them on back-to-back weekends, what can you do to sort of reestablish what was going on here last weekend against them there?
Every game's different and every team is different. So I think, there's adjustments to be made for both sides, really. I think when you play teams very close in dates, there's things that you can do the same and things you need to get better at or make an adjustment to. They're probably saying the same thing about us. So again, each game is different. Each game is different, and you got to attack each starter a little bit differently. But yeah, hopefully it's. I think just looking back to that series, we got some big hits, and we got some big outs when we needed to, And I think that just wasn't the case against these three against Boston. So hopefully we can get back on track.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.